there's two ways to do it. First thing, they always know the key that they're in. All right? So this song, Georgia, is in what key? It's got one flat. So it's in the key of F. All right. So he knows in the key of F that he can play almost anything in an F scale and sound good. But generally, what they do and what you can do, you can just take the chord structure of a song. And in the beginner class today, we taught them how to play the 5-finger exercise. If you don't have it, I have it printed. Where you play a C chord and you go. That's a C progression, and a D. Okay, it's called 5 fingers. All right, or you can do the whole scale. In most saxophone players, clarinetists, they all know all of these cool jazz scales and things like that. So all they do is, if they're playing with Georgia, they'll probably take the first chord, F, and just noodle in it. Okay, so they're using the chord structure that the rest of the band is playing, and they're just playing in that key. All right, so Georgia, I literally can play Georgia and put on that clarinet sound. The first measure I can go, that's Georgia. But if I want to noodle and not play Georgia, I just steal Georgia's chords and play what I please. Now that takes more guts than that. Okay, so I might go. And sometimes it sounds good. There's a couple notes I went, and I thought, don't record that. And then I thought, go ahead and record it, because there's a rule that most ear players know. If you're on a note and you're using it as a passing note and you're just moving around, if you're on a note and your ear goes, don't like it, doesn't sound good, you're never more than one note to the left or the right away from the right note. So watch, if I'm playing this F chord, and I play a G note, ew, that doesn't sound good. If I move one to the left, or one to the right, it works every time. Because one of the notes in that chord is either going to be to the left or to the right.
So it's always going to be a full step, though?
Sometimes a half, sometimes a whole. And if it's a half, and it doesn't sound good, you just take another half and go. And ear players know it, note readers don't. That's why you're lucky to have me.
Karen, my purest reaction to that playing that I just described the saxophone, say, wait a minute, Guy, that isn't the way the composer wrote that song. What right do you have to not play it the way he wrote it?
Because he has every right. If you tell him to go ahead and take off and do his thing, he shouldn't play what the composer wrote. That's called improvisation. And the purist in you needs to go away. Because the purist is the problem. See, music is, the only time you have to be a purist is if you're playing in an orchestra. Right. Or a band. Not even a band has a different kind of a slant to it. But in an orchestra, classical, you read the notes, you play the notes, otherwise the director will kick you out. Right. In a band, where you're doing improv and things like that, and you're just goofing around, you don't want those purists in there, because then your band doesn't sound good. You want the guys that are able to do that, play multiple notes and grace notes and get off onto the, I call it on a tangent, to just, Rosemary Bailey is probably the best example I know of that. She can start to play a song in 2 minutes. You don't remember what song it was she was playing, because she's like gone. She's playing something you never heard before, but the chords are the same. is when she started. And she may come back to the song before she ends, but in the middle, it's like weird.
What's the term you use to make a,
Improvisation.
no, there was another term you used. Noodling or something?
Noodling. Noodling.
N-O-O.
Noodlin. I don't know.
Yeah.
Noodling. Noodling.